have watched. Unguided. We have never interfered. Until now.
Obviously, one of the joys of this franchise is the opportunity to see all of these characters from different franchises interact. And I'm curious, just knowing Icarus and Cersei as you do, is there a particular Marvel hero for each of you that you think that your characters would particularly get along with?
I don't know, maybe Iron Man. I think we could go flying around together. I think we'd have fun doing that. I mean, I'd like to see it.
Well, good, because that would be outlandish and fantastic.
Gosh, I mean, who to pick? I mean, I think Valkyrie would be a lot of fun for Cersei to have a night out with. I mean, Captain America as well. I think she probably would have got along with. Who knows? They may have met. Yeah.
Long timelines. Well, actually, do you think that it's possible that Cersei and Minerva, just given the fact that Cersei's been around for 7,000 years, have they ever maybe met? Do you think?
Who knows? And Minerva had been to C-53 before, so yeah.
Once, it's a real shithole.
I think my character would get along well with Loki. But me personally, I would love to be in a movie with Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like Dane would get along with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
You're both nice guys.
Nice guys. Just nice guys, you know?
Yes! Yes!
Maybe I heard this Gilgamesh is friend of Thor. That's what I heard.
The Avengers have Thor, Spider-Man, but we have Athena.
Hello.
When you're playing 7,000-year-old characters, I mean, you're talking about so much history and experience and perspective. Where exactly do you start in that process?
I don't know. I think sometimes we feel 7,000 years old because we've lived intense lives.
Yes.
No, but it's great that you have to, dive into different periods of time and history, and that makes it a lot more exciting.
I think, and I hadn't thought about it till now, but I suppose that's in looking at, humankind from the origins, and the film does an interesting thing where it looks back at us, not at Europeans or Africans, at us, and at us together and our histories and different civilizations and how we've evolved, and so I don't think we had any answers, but it was really nice to go back and really think about where we've all been.
And also to see that how we've evolved and how we haven't evolved.
And how we're going
backwards in some degree. Yeah,
backward.
for sure.
Yeah, so like you said, 7,000 years. When I was thinking about my character, I thought about her power, and her power is speed, which means how many times do you think that she could run around the world in 7,000 years? Run through all the forests, all the trees, run through the deserts. That's what I envisioned. And I envisioned that this character has seen it all, has seen everything. And I imagined her being bored, which probably led her to doing mischievous things. And so that's kind of where my thought process went when I was developing my character. And then also to see how we interacted with each other off set, I brought that into the film as well to my character. We were just a crazy Eternals family.
Yeah, for me, it was, his relationship to his powers, his relationship to his mission, his relationship to humanity, and his relationship to each of the other Eternals. How does he feel about every single one of them? So even if you don't really see it on screen, I know it's there. So even if it's a small conversation with Fastos, I know how he feels about him, So it was sort of like diagramming all this stuff. And a lot of that relationship came from, as Lauren said, us sort of hanging out for a few weeks before we started shooting it and filling that stuff in.
For the character, his calmness, his composure, his calmness. And that was a pretty hard thing to stay calm and composed, because I move a lot, I fidget a lot, and that was a hard thing to kind of stay still and keep my energy still, and because he's a thinker and he talks when he wants to talk and stuff. So I was up for the challenge. I was up for the challenge of playing someone a bit more composed and slow moving.
Are those the roles that you're kind of most interested in, the ones that kind of take you out of your comfort zone?
Definitely, yeah, always. I always want to be challenged, and I'm never quite happy either at the end. Every time I see my performances, I'm never quite happy with what I've done, which I think is a very, very healthy thing. just had that chat last night with someone. I think it's a really healthy thing to not be happy, and always look for ways of improving, and happy to an extent, and happy for the film and stuff. But I'm always looking at ways I could have done it slightly better, and that's what keeps me going.
Well, we just had to communicate with Chloé a lot, so we have a lot of communication about that. But actually, what she wanted is she wanted my actual character, put my actual character in the Gilgamesh. So that, I don't know, that can cover the long period of time, but she wanted that, so I built up character like that.
I mean, it's a lot of new characters and new storyline, but as a Marvel fan myself, I was really excited to just get into reading the script and get to understanding the characters as quickly as I could. I mean, it was a lot of fun for me. I don't think it was a lot of work.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos or any war, all the other terrible things throughout history?
Did you detail what the Eternals were doing during the events that we've seen in the MCU?
Well, because they were instructed, and you've seen the film, yeah? So because there's a very particular reason why they cannot interfere. So I'm sure the cast had a lot of conversations amongst themselves. I very much rely on them to, if they have questions for me, I would answer. But I think they stayed aside, and then you get a glimpse in the film of how that affects each of them. Each of them have a very different point of view. And sometimes we have to not forget, they are millions of years. I mean, they are really, really old. And they look at things very differently than us.
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
One of the sequences that I wanted to talk to you about in this film is the just interactions between Cersei and Arishem, because those are obviously so epic, and it's a scene where you're interacting with a god. How exactly were those pulled off, and just what was your brain space while during the shooting?
I mean, yeah, it definitely was a challenge because, for most of the rest of the film, we're on location. I mean, we did have some sets as well, but yeah, those scenes were very much obviously a lot of green screen because, and I hadn't really I'd seen some of the kind of drawings and the concept art before, but I had no real idea of the scale of who I was talking to. So am I looking slightly up, or is he like that big? Am I looking up that? Like, it was just, yeah. And then even then seeing it, just realizing he's larger than I could even have imagined. Sure. But yeah, it was definitely a challenge and to play, because there's so much kind of things are revealed in those scenes as well. So and then now I find this out now. But yeah, it was hopefully pulled off.
Well, it was heavy on the head because I had extensions and a headpiece. It's really looking up
on her head.
And every time it was like a neck situation. I know this sounds silly, but after many takes of, oh my God, all these extensions and the thing got tiresome, but I took it very seriously. I would really try to, and I loved it.
I know, knowing her, I can say it makes sense. If I was to send anybody I know to kind of help me connect to whatever else is going on in the world or whatever is, it is Selma.
And I really did love it. And I was trying to feel the energy of it, how it would change, which was good because it distracted me from the thing. And of course I didn't know what, Arishem really looked like because it's not really in front of me. So it was also fascinating to imagine it and feel the energy and have inside of me, which I love about Ajak, this sense of duty, and at the same time, this intelligence that makes you question everything.
How long do we have?
7 days.
And for you, Richard, I mean, when you're flying, obviously it looks so cool on the big screen, but in production, you rarely hear any good things about wire work. Like, what was your takeaway and your experience from all that?
It's not fun. Thank God Gemma was there to tell me when I look stupid or not. And then the practicalities of things, of trying on these costumes and being like, this is great. And then you're hanging upside down on a wire going, this costume now looks dumb. Go back to the drawing board and rethink this because yeah, I look like I'm wearing blue leggings and nothing else.
Did you have to work on your specific positions while you were in the air?
Oh yeah, I was practicing them all the time, like up there going, how do I do this and not look as if my spine's contorted? And then try to look elegant and natural, like it's an easy thing to do. So it's a fun challenge though, trying to make something that cool.
And actually, to speak about Makkari's super speed sequences, can you talk about just the experience of what that was like doing that on set, and then what it was like seeing them in the finished film?
Oh, wow. It was a long wait to finally be able to see the result of all that hard work, and I'm so happy with what I saw. And honestly, I had no idea exactly how my speed was going to be portrayed on the screen. And Chloé and I had talked about what my running style would look like, and she talked about how she wanted me to move, how my stops would look. And so we did create this style. And in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna run like a girl. I'm not going to run like the other speedsters and some of the other comic worlds, because those have all been men, and it's a very specific look. And so I really wanted to keep it relaxed. Chloé wanted it to be relaxed and flexible, and she wanted me to practice stumbling a little bit. We wanted to incorporate all that as well. And the VFX work, it was amazing. It was cosmic.
Very cool. I totally agree. And actually, for Kumail, this is, without getting into the details, there is a sequence in this film where you get a bit of Deviant splatter all over the face. And I'm always curious, is that a fun day on set, or is that just the worst day on set?
You know, that day was challenging for me because that was my first day doing stunts, and it's sort of a big stunt to do, so it was challenging. And then we actually went back and got more. But to me, getting that goopy stuff on the face, we really did that. Even though it's uncomfortable, it was really exciting because I knew the scene was going to be so fun in the movie. I knew that if we pull this off, this is going to be an awesome moment. So all that discomfort, all the weird goo in your face and in your eyes, I had like green stuff in my eyes, all of that doesn't matter because I knew like, oh man, if we do a good job here, this is gonna look great. And they did a great job.
Can I ask how many times you had to do it?
The stunt I ended up doing 20 some times. I think I was counting back then, and I think I've blocked it out now, but I think it was 25 or 26 times. When I went home, I had a bruise this big on my thigh. And then the goopy stuff, I think we only did that like 3 times, but once you have the goop on your face, you just lay there and you just try a bunch of different things. We tried so many different versions of that because I knew, this could be a great moment. So let's just get as much as we can.
Actually, I understand that you were particularly adept at getting the languages down. Is that right?
Yeah. I think that they dumped all of the language on me. I think I spoke most different languages in the movie. It didn't all make it in, but I was like not gonna mess up on a Marvel set. I was like, there's no way, I have to get this perfect. My first day I spoke Spanish, and then I had a whole page speech in Babylonian, speaking gibberish. I know I had sign language. I spoke a couple other languages that didn't make it in also, but yeah, Chloé, once I started doing it pretty well, Chloé was like, oh, let me give you some more.
I'm sure that was a lot of fun for you.
It was.
Oh, I love Chloé. I really, really do. I love Chloé. She's a friend, and to kind of have that relationship on set and feel comfortable to try things and be vulnerable as well, and it's it does take a strong relationship, and she allowed me and gave me the license to do that. She's I'll keep saying it for every interview, she's fascinating, and she really is one of the best filmmakers out there. I think hats off and a big credit to her for coming into the Marvel universe and taking a fresh new superheroes and right after Avengers, because everyone loved Avengers, and bringing Eternals forward. So hats off.
Going back to when you first became involved with this production to what we see in the finished cut, what would you say was the element that changed the most over that time?
Oh man, everything. This is it's a living organism. It really is. But the heart, I think the heart and soul remain the same. You literally, you lose locations. You have to take out a storyline, you know, you have to maybe get rid of a character. There's too many. It's endless. I can't go into details, but yeah, the film doesn't. I think we like officially finish on Saturday. It goes on until the very end.
You can't protect any of them.
To speak about Athena and just her memories, I mean, there are scenes in this film where she really becomes overwhelmed and kind of out of control. What was the headspace for when you were filming those scenes?
Well, you know, like many people, I have my own struggles with, you know, with different traumas or things that have happened. And so many of us become overwhelmed by the weight of our lives or our memories. And in some way it was therapeutic to let it come through. And what I liked about her is that, you know, she is both. She's also very strong. You know, sometimes we present people, this is a strong person and this is a person who's very emotional and broken, or this is a person who's vulnerable, but we are all of these things. And so I kind of found I found her stronger than most people I've ever played, not because she's a superhero, but because she's actually trying to overcome what she's struggling with.
This planet and these people have changed all of us.
One thing that did surprise me about the movie is that there are actually a surprising number of references to DC comics, which, you know, for Marvel is surprising. Was that kind of like an olive branch, like peacemaking thing?
Well, I take responsibility for that. And because comic books and superhero films, we're exploring mythology that had existed in human history from all cultures. And you have a character like Superman, for example, and that the comics and also the brilliant filmmakers that have brought Superman to life in different movies, they are basically doing a modern interpretation of mythology. And Icarus, in a way, is our interpretation of that mythology, but it doesn't mean we can't pay tribute and have a good time with some of these iconic creations that we all love so much.
You hear that? Eternals assemble.
It's a really good line.